Hey yo, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ben, just a guy who loves DFS and is working to become consistently profitable. Because man, if we can make money playing DFS, life is good, right? I'm sharing my journey here so that you and I can both learn together. All right, well, we're here. It's the last week, and this is going to be a little awkward for me because I just spent 20 minutes filming this and I wasn't recording. So super cool. I specifically set a time frame for myself, by the way. I've got a couple things to get done tonight, and I told my wife, I was like, I'm doing all this in the next hour. And yeah, not gonna happen now. Not gonna happen. But anyways, this will probably end up working in your favor because it'll be a little bit more concise, I'm sure. But anyways, here we are. Love the 250k red zone, 50k to first. What a fun tourney for that big payout to first with only 5,600, 5,700 entries, basically. I was gonna say buck, $50 pay in. Yeah, it's a little rich for me. It's the most expensive tournament that I play, but between the field size, single entry, and that type of payout, I am totally down with this as opposed to throwing 20 bucks at the millie or, even I even love the fair catch. But if you play that, in a couple different entries, you throw $12 here and there at a couple of those, and those start to add up. And if you play, they've got larger fields in terms of like 25,000 entries or something like that. So, yeah, I'm totally cool playing this tourney. Like I said, just kind of at the top end of what I work with my bankroll currently, but hard to avoid those payouts with just way more plus EV than playing in something like the Millie, where yes, it's $30 cheaper, but I think you get 50k at like third place, which you have to beat a couple 100,000 entries to get the same payout that you do at this low amount here. So I cashed. I got 100 bucks on my 50, 500th basically out of 5,700. So putting me at like 18th percentile or something like that, which is pretty good, just above the cash line there. Did some good things, I thought. A couple disappointing things, which we will discuss here in a minute. But yeah, let's look at the lineup. So I wanted to play a lot of guys from the late game. Probably not a surprise. The only thing that slightly worried me about that was that it didn't feel like much of a leverage play, which, always looking for in tournaments, because I figured that most people would be focusing on this later game. So I specifically wanted to try to create leverage within that. And so the way that I did that was I played Josh Allen instead of Mahomes. So that was my first thing. I thought Mahomes would have been the most popular quarterback on the slate, and for a good reason. It felt scary to not play Mahomes, which actually him, Allen, and Rodgers all ended up scoring about the same, I think. And I think Brady was only... No, I don't remember what Brady finished with, but those three were all kind of neck and neck. And so that was my first piece. Basically, then I wanted a piece of the running game then. And so where this kind of fell apart was that Darrell Williams, they just kept rolling with him. Hot hand, he's been playing well. And quite honestly, I was fully there myself until 20 minutes before kickoff. And the reason that I played Edwards-Helaire, I honestly, results suck, but process-wise, I don't hate it. This is really low. I figured that people were going to be worried about him coming back off the injury and what that would look like. But as Hilo noted, shout out to Hilo on Twitter, and from 1 Week Season, he mentioned that if Le'Veon Bell was inactive, that meant that Clyde Edwards-Helaire was healthy. And I thought that was super sharp. And so as soon as I saw Bell become inactive, I opted for Edwards-Helaire. I'm I'm pretty much always going to play the guy coming out of injury. Cole Beasley is another one here I'll get to in a second. Just because people are usually more scared. But in this case, Darrell Williams has just been playing great, and so it totally makes sense that they stuck with him. He didn't even have a great game, but he scored another 6 points or something like that, and so I super lucked into a touchdown here from Edwards-Helaire, but that's essentially what I was hoping for. Just I thought that he was going to have more yardage and hopefully catch 3 to 5 passes was what I was hoping. Obviously, that's a little high. I was a little hopeful there, but not playing Mahomes, I wanted to capitalize on hoping that they scored on the ground. So kind of worked, kind of didn't. And then from there, with Josh Allen, I wanted to bring it back with Singletary and Beasley. Now, I know that's a little bit weird pairing, but what I wanted here was 2 things. I didn't want to play Diggs. I wanted some leverage off of him, and I wanted to play Singletary because I figured that, both Singletary and Beasley, honestly, because they both had terrible games last week. And I think like 5 points between the two of them. Like Beasley didn't get a catch even on 2 targets, and Singletary kind of failed as like the chalk on a short slate. And I just figured that in this game, he would play kind of the scat back role, catching, again, like 3 to 5 passes, which I wanted to get a piece of that coming back. So my hope here was, oh, by the way, I loved Cole Beasley here. Loved him. Like, this is my favorite kind of play, and that is that nobody wants to play a guy after a 0 burger, right? Like, that just doesn't feel good. It's totally scary. This ownership, oh man, love that. He's, you got, and I'm going to get flack for saying this, but like, he's the 1B to Stephon Diggs, and not from a talent perspective, but from an offensive piece perspective. Allen loves him. He's a great outlet. I figured the focus was going to be on Diggs here. The ownership was going to be on Diggs here, and so I just loved Beasley to get like 10 targets and have, he's a red zone guy too, so have a chance at a touchdown, maybe even 2 if I luck into that, but this is, essentially what I'm hoping to get from him. And quite honestly, if you get one more catch there and he finds his way into the end zone and you're looking at another 10 points from him, so 25 points out of Beasley, that was my hope. But either way, really like the play there. Singletary obviously did not work out. Just, the thing that hurts about this is that I really liked him because he was getting the lion's share of the carries. However, that's not what happened. Yeldon played quite a bit more. I think they split carries or snaps rather, or close to, or it seemed like it watching the game. But Yeldon worked as the pass catching back, and so I was a little bummed that I didn't think about that because look, I definitely didn't think Singletary had a ceiling. I thought at most he scores 15 points, which, I don't love because in tournaments, ceiling definitely matters. I just thought that, if I could luck into getting a touchdown reception from him, I'd be in a good spot for a dozen points or so. But I knew he didn't have a ceiling, and so to have a little bit of foresight and play Yeldon, like, yeah, it's kind of a crazy play, but it's really not, because you knew they were going to have to be passing, and Singletary was going to be playing all the snaps, and Yeldon has shown his pass-catching chops in the past. And he's not a great player in general, but I don't know. I just think in hindsight that I might have been able to figure that one out, because I love that kind of play, just on a short slate like this. Just, that's the off-the-board thing that isn't that ridiculous, because the guy is going to see the field. So, so that was my stack there. And then, like I said, brought it back. I wanted the running game from the Chiefs, and then Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. I was not going to play those 2 guys. I almost got cute and thought about fading Tyreek Hill, but the more that I thought about it, I was just like, no, like, he hasn't hit a ceiling much recently. People are going to be a little bit more off of him than they should be, which, 45% ownership for Tyreek at 7,200 on a short slate. That's super, super low. He should have been 70%. So love that I ended up coming back to him, but really what it was, like, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, their usage is ridiculously locked in. Like, Andy Reid is drawing up plays for these guys. Mahomes is going to get them the ball no matter what. They are unguardable, and they have two of the highest ceilings in the game. Kelce brings an incredibly high floor to that as well, so he was a total lock for me. And fortunately, I came around to Tyreek Hill, and what I really liked about that is that I'm getting their two best players, outside of Mahomes, and then the run game piece. So I just really like the leverage that playing those three set up. Final pieces then from the early game were Devontae Adams, Robert Tonyan, and Bucks D. So Bucks D was just kind of a gimme for me. It's always scary to play a defense against Aaron Rodgers. I played the Rams last week and thought they were going to get to him, get a whole bunch of pressure on him, and they didn't, so I was nervous about this, but, I didn't blink on this one. I didn't like any defense on this slate, obviously, but the cheapest defense, blitz heavy, Rodgers can still make bad decisions from time to time. He can hold on to the ball too long, and so that wasn't too much of a thought for me. I was just like, yep, I'm going to roll with that. Anything can happen. And I will say, in case you didn't watch the game, they almost returned a fumble for a touchdown. I think they got stopped at like a 5-yard line or something. So I was very close to a touchdown out of them. Devontae Adams and Robert Tonyan. I really liked early in the week playing Rodgers and two pass catchers, Devontae and another pass catcher basically, because I just thought that the leverage set up really well. I thought that, they were not going to be able to run against the Bucs, so Rodgers throwing the ball 40 to 45 times in a game that they have to win, putting the ball in the hands of their best player. I thought it was really, really solid for him to hit 300 yards passing and score 3, probably 4 touchdowns through the air, which is exactly what he ended up doing. Fortunately, I didn't get burned here by Allen scoring less, but from a leverage perspective, I do kind of wish that I had played Rodgers just because I think it's super sharp. Having him come in at a decent score and maybe Josh Allen and Mahomes underproducing relative to their crazy high ceilings. So yeah, loved the pass game for the Packers, and I liked, Devontae was the obvious one. I wanted to fade Lazard after last game, figured he'd be heavily owned after he scored a long touchdown, had a big day, and unfortunately, I was not able to fit MVS in this lineup because I went up to Edwards-Helaire. So that net bit me in the ass because that netted me a difference in I think 6 points between him and Darrell Williams, and then another 12-ish, I think, from MVS and Tonyan. So 18 points between the two. I would have been up at a 185 just if I had switched those two guys. Left Williams in and went with MVS, who is a guy who clearly has a higher ceiling. But that said, I really did not hate Tonyan in this spot where I thought that he could end up for 4 catches, 50 yards, and 2 touchdowns, just because he is a red zone guy. So could have gotten there, didn't get there. Hurts did not have MVS. The running back choices here, brutal. Honestly, I was not going to play Fournette. And it sucks to say that because I wish I was on him, obviously, because of results. But I just thought that Rojo was going to come back healthy and they were going to have more of a split workload between the two of them. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Fournette stayed in the game as he has been recently, and he caught a handful of passes, and he got in the end zone and had a good day. So Hurt not having him, hurt not having Darrell Williams instead. And that was essentially the difference in my day right there. Because, as we're going to see, and I know this because I filmed this video once already, if we look at CC Linda's lineup, hold on here. What are we doing? If we look at CC Linda's lineup, here we go. I was like, what is happening? You'll note that it looks very similar. He had Josh Allen, Dawson Knox. So different in that he played Dawson Knox and no other pass catchers from the Bills. Talk about a fun tourney play on a short slate there. Love it. I mean, feels ugly. I mean, this is exactly what you need to do on a short slate. And then he brought it back with Darrell Williams, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. So basically, and Chiefs D. So basically what I did, except he chose the right running back in Darrell Williams. So he got those 6 extra points that I did not there. He played Chiefs D, like I said, who I was not on to pay up for at all. But he got them at low ownership. They actually played pretty well. Just didn't do anything major. And then he did play Fournette, which I was just lamenting. And then Devontae and MVS, which is the pairing that I wish I had. But put myself into a bad situation because I played Clyde Edwards-Helaire and could not pay up to Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So, looking at this, yeah. I had a shot. He played the right couple guys. I made the wrong 1v1 decisions. And really, the biggest thing for me was I wasn't on Fournette. And so that feels like an oversight. The other ones are just kind of lucky. I was going for, like I said, the riskier play in Edwards-Helaire. And that did not pay off. And Scantling, oh man, I didn't realize this. 13%. Oh, take him all day with his long game that he's got. Man. So, as I like to say, it hurts, but it's encouraging. It's good when you're only a couple spots away, but the pain is real. And it was even more real this time with this being the last contest of the year. Last shot at 50K until next NFL season for me because I do not play any other DFS. So, sad moment. Took it a little bit harder than I normally would last night when I was thinking through all this, lying in bed, not being able to sleep because I missed my shot at 50K here. But yeah, it's fun to think that I was close, and yeah, just live to see another day. And that's what DFS is all about. And here we are. End of the season. I'm going to wrap this up because this is now the second video that I've done in a row. Please let this be recording. Thank you for hanging out if you've been here and checking these out. I'd love to hear what you think. I'd love for feedback for next year. This was really fun. I didn't put any effort into growing this year. I really just told a couple people and just playing around with it and having fun, but I would love for you and for more people to come along on this journey so that we can learn together. It's not about me, it's not about my lineups, it's about us being able to grow together, and that's what I'm all about. So thanks for hanging out. Hope you had a great season, and we'll see you in the fall of 2021. Be well.